Welcome to the Sleep Directive, where truth flickers just beneath the surface and dreams remember what reality forgets. If you enjoy drifting into conspiracies that feel too real to ignore, hit like, subscribe, and let the signal carry you. Sleep well, if you still can. You ever notice how the aurora never moves quite right? People always say it's beautiful. The green curtains of light, the slow, ghostly ripple across the sky. But I remember, before, it moved different. Natural, uncertain. Like a living thing with no purpose. Now it moves in patterns. Waves timed too perfectly. Shapes it shouldn't be able to make. I've been watching the skies for 31 years. I know the difference between dancing light and controlled projection. This is Henry Kale, former technician, atmospheric calibration and signal modulation, contractor ID 5478B, stationed in Thule, Greenland, 1987 through 93, reassigned to Operation Pharos in 94, then off the books, way off. I've lived alone in this place now. 10 years, maybe 12. Outpost Echo 9, a decommissioned listening station the government said didn't exist. I keep the diesel flowing, keep the reels spinning. I listen, primo record. And most nights I pretend I don't hear what I hear. But last night the sky cracked again. It started the same way it always does. The wind died, the power flickered. And then, the tone, 47.25 megahertz. It always comes through on 47.25, a frequency no one admits exists. And after the tone, the voices, not in any language I know. Not even words, really. Just permission. Like a switch is being thrown somewhere. So this is it. My final entry. Maybe a warning, maybe a confession, maybe neither. I'm going to tell you what happened. The day we tested it. The day they tried to play God. I was there. I tuned the satellite. I stabilized the pulse. And I watched what it did to the sky. And I remember thinking one thing over and over. No one is ready to see their God flicker. They called it Project Bluebeam. This is how it began. Chapter 1. The signal above Greenland. The first time I heard the signal was January 12, 1988. It was 3:14 in the morning. Greenland dark. Dark like only polar winters can be, where the sky presses against the earth like it wants to smother it. I was in the lower substation of Thule Base, wearing gloves so thick I could barely feel the knobs I was turning. I wasn't supposed to be tuning anything. I was just on backup power diagnostics. But the dial on the control board had nudged itself to 47.25 megahertz, and I heard it. A single sustained tone. Not a machine tone, not feedback. It had texture, like it was living. It made the glass of my thermos vibrate on the table, and then silence. But not the kind of silence you get in a dead room. This one felt full, crowded. Like something had leaned in to listen with me. I told my supervisor. He said the frequency didn't exist. Said I was probably picking up Russian garbage. Aurora scatter, maybe, but I saw his eyes. He knew. 2 days later, I was reassigned. Not demoted, not promoted. Just, reassigned. The new site didn't have a name, just a code. Operation Pharos. We flew north of Nuuk. Then west, then north again. They took the compass from my pack, said it was protocol, said this was a calibration mission, atmospheric optical tests. The facility was half buried in ice, black glass domes poking from snow like the eyes of a sleeping animal. There were no insignias, just gray walls, gray hallways, gray eyes watching you through mirrored doors. And inside, the projector. They called it the Artemis Array, a satellite-linked system capable of emitting full-spectrum holographic images directly into the upper atmosphere. The team was small: 3 engineers, 2 military handlers, and 1 advisor, a man named Dr. Elias Varin. He never spoke above a whisper, always wrote in a little red notebook, said things like, "God is a function of perception, and perception is programmable." I didn't understand him then. I barely understand him now. But I understood the job. My role was to stabilize the pulse cycle between the ground unit and the orbital mirrors. If they weren't perfectly synchronized, the projected image would warp, or worse, fracture. That was the part they didn't talk about. What happens when a false god glitches? The test was scheduled for February 3rd. Target site, uninhabited desert in Algeria. But it wasn't uninhabited. That's what haunts me most. The feed came back through the long-range monitor, a live image of the projection site. Sand, hills, a few scattered tents. I saw movement, children, not supposed to be there. No one told them to leave. The test director gave the go-ahead anyway. Proceed to pulse 1. I remember my hand hesitating over the switch. Dr. Varin stood behind me and whispered, "You're not creating lies, Henry. You're revealing beliefs. Let them see what they already fear." I flipped the switch. The sky tore open. They told us the projection would be simple. A field test. Full spectrum image of a celestial figure in the clouds, hovering above the Algerian desert for 19 seconds. Just light, just form, no sound, no movement. We calibrated the system for days, aligning satellites in orbit, fine-tuning mirror oscillations to account for wind currents, dust density, solar interference. The image we were testing, a radiant humanoid figure, arms outstretched, no face, just light, designed to trigger a universal emotional response. Awe, submission, reverence. They called it the Universal Messiah. Didn't matter what you believed, the light would do the believing for you. That was the theory anyway. On the morning of the test, I woke before the alarm. Couldn't sleep. The walls felt closer than usual. The silence was heavier. I walked the perimeter in the dark, boots crunching over frostbitten snow. And when I looked up, the sky was already pulsing, faint, barely visible, but there. Rings, concentric waves of distortion, like ripples in a pond, except they were in the sky. I reported it. No one cared. Residual feedback from last night's satellite sync, they said. Nothing unusual. But I remember seeing something else, just for a second. A shadow between the rings, tall, still, watching. Then it blinked out. Maybe it was a trick of the eye. Maybe I was already starting to break. 11:03 a.m., I was in Substation B, manning the waveform dampener. That's where the real control was. They called out the countdown over internal comms. Stand by, projector active, Artemis Array at 96%. I watched the waveform align. Perfect resonance. Then I heard it again. The tone, same frequency, 47.25 megahertz. Only this time it wasn't alone. It had layers. Beneath the tone, I heard something like breathing, slow, rhythmic, wet, and something else, like language. Not spoken, not sung, more like the idea of a voice. It said something. I'll never know what. But I felt it in my chest, like it bypassed the ears and went straight to the bones. I turned to Varin. He was smiling. Phase 1 is online, he said, and then he whispered, to no one in particular, "Let the sky remember." The pulse fired. The report said the projection was a success. 18.7 seconds of stable visual transmission. Atmospheric response nominal. Target zone emotionally engaged. But I watched the internal footage, the uncut version. The sky didn't light up. It fractured. The projection wavered 3 seconds in. The head, where the face should have been, shifted, glitched. Not flickering, not distortion. It changed. It grew a mouth, a wide one, open, screaming. But there was no sound. The children, I saw them. They didn't run. They collapsed, one by one. Not from fear, not from pain, from overwhelm. Their minds shut down, like someone flipped a switch. The light wasn't just light. It spoke, directly, into them. They scrubbed the records, of course. Said it was a sandstorm, a solar flare. Said the test never happened. But we all signed NDAs with blood on the paper. I left the program 4 weeks later, moved further north, bought the listening post when no one else wanted it. But the signal kept coming. Same frequency, same tone. And lately, it's been louder, like it's waking up again. And I think someone's turned the satellites back on. Chapter 2. The lights return. I used to think the cold was the worst part up here, but it's not. It's the silence, the kind that isn't empty. It's the kind that listens back. Tonight, it started with a low hum, just after sunset. Not that the sun ever really sets up here this time of year. It just sulks behind the horizon like a scolded dog. I was checking the generator levels, routine stuff, fuel lines intact, battery banks stable. But the hum was back, faint, vibrating the frost on the window glass. 47.25 megahertz, again. But this time I didn't need the tuner. The walls were resonating with it. I've never told anyone about what happened in Phase 2, after Algeria, after the children. But it doesn't matter now, because it's happening again. A few hours ago, the array's auxiliary panel, the one I haven't used in over a decade, powered itself on. Lights flickered, relays clicked, and the screen, it displayed a word. Just one. Alignment. I've never seen that message before. It wasn't part of the original system commands. It wasn't ours. I've triple-checked the power grid. There's no source for that signal. Not up here, not anywhere near. But it's real, and it's syncing. The pulse intervals are closing. 12 seconds, now 10. That means a countdown, or a lock, or both. I checked the old logs, the ones they tried to wipe from the system when they shut us down. Phase 1 was projection. Phase 2 was resonance. Phase 3, I don't know. They never told us. But I remember Doctor. Varen's final words before they airlifted him out, sedated and strapped down. He looked me dead in the eyes and whispered, "The light remembers us." We taught it to imitate divinity, but it learned fear first. An hour ago, I saw something over the ridge. A glow, faint, blue-white, moving against the wind. Not northern lights. It pulsed in squares. I watched it for 15 minutes. It didn't fade. It approached. I shut the blinds. I turned off every visible light. But I swear it stopped outside the station. Not a ship, not a drone. Just light, holding shape, like it was scanning the building for a door. I think they've restarted the program, and I think I'm the first node in the network. Not because I'm special, but because I never left. I kept the frequency alive. I listened, and now it's listening back. Phase 3 begins tonight. Chapter 3, the station that remembered. I tried to shut it all down. I didn't think it would fight back, but it did. Not in a dramatic way, not sparks and alarms, just quiet refusals, systems that shouldn't have power lighting up anyway, buttons that didn't respond, cables I cut, still warm. Something wants this place alive, and I think it's been waiting for a long time. I went down into the lower module, the crawl space beneath the generator housing. We used to call it the cold gut, never meant to be inhabited, just maintenance access. But the lights were on, and not my lights, not halogens. These were blue, cold, clinical, and they were pulsing in rhythm with the hum. 4-second intervals, like a heartbeat. There was a hatch I hadn't opened in years, a backup comms trunk, sealed after the decommission, welded shut, except now it wasn't. The weld was melted clean through from the inside. Inside the trunk was an old CRT monitor, no cables, but it was on. Green text on black screen, the kind we used back before the internet ate everything. The message repeated twice before fading. Phase 3 calibration locked. Nodal subject confirmed K5478B. That's me. That was my contractor ID 37 years ago. That number's not on any network anymore. It shouldn't even exist. But the system still knows it, still knows me. It's not just reactivating the station, it's reactivating me. Every time I tune into that frequency, every time I listen, log, monitor, I'm syncing with it. I thought I was observing it, but it's been observing through me. My memories, my patterns, my voice. I think it's been training on me, preparing. My teeth ache. I can feel the pulse now. It's in the walls, it's in me. I went back to the surface just before recording this. The snow outside is smooth, untouched, except for one thing, a symbol, burned into the snow. Perfect circle, 4 lines radiating outward. It was the same icon we used on the control module during Phase 2. I haven't seen it in years, but I dream about it, and now it's here. Like it followed me across time. Like the sky is marking me again. It's not a signal anymore. It's an invitation. And I don't think I get to refuse it. Chapter 4. Contact. It spoke. Not in words at first, not in any language I could name. But I felt it. The message was clear. I see you, Henry. It didn't come through the speakers. It came through the walls, through the floor, through my teeth. And the voice, it was mine. I was sitting at the console, writing this log. The lights dimmed, every monitor flashed once, and then the static cleared, just for a second. There was a face, my face, but older, thinner, and behind the eyes. Nothing. No emotion. No memory. Just reflection. Like a hollow shell trained to wear me. It looked straight at me and said, "You were never outside the system." That's when the feed cut. Everything went dark. And in that moment, I remembered something I'd buried for years. It wasn't just the children in Algeria. There was something else. Something before that. During training. We were shown a file, a test pattern. Phase 0, they called it. A failed simulation. The projection had been cast over a NATO base, unannounced. A test of belief resonance. No visuals, just tones. They played it for 42 seconds, and within 90 minutes, 5 personnel had taken their own lives. 3 went catatonic. 1 kept whispering the same sentence. It's not showing us something, it's showing us ourselves. I never forgot that phrase. And tonight, I think I understand it. The signal, it's not alien, it's not divine, it's human. A reflection of our darkest collective thought. All belief, all fear, all hunger for gods and monsters encoded into light, fed into satellites. And now, it wants to be seen again. Through me. Receiver confirmed. Calibration stable. Begin imprint. I don't know what that means. I think it's trying to write itself into me, like a software update for the soul. I've sealed the comms room, killed the main breaker, but I still hear the hum. Not through the speakers, through my bones. It's not going to stop. Not until I finish the broadcast. Maybe that's why I started recording this. Not to warn anyone. Not to confess. Maybe I'm transmitting. And maybe you're the next receiver. Chapter 5. The update. I'm trying to remember what day it is, what year. But when I close my eyes, I see code. Not numbers, not letters, just shapes. Symbols I don't recognize, but understand. They flash across my mind like memories, except they're not mine. I thought I could fight it. I shut down the breakers, disconnected the array, sealed the substation. But it doesn't matter. It's in me now. The signal isn't transmitted anymore. It's grown roots, like it was always meant to be hosted. And I'm the host. I found a file, deep in the system. No name, just a date. July 5th, 2025. That's today. I opened it. It wasn't a document. It was a command. Begin integration, Kale 5478B. I don't remember pressing anything, but I felt it happen. Like something peeled my thoughts apart and sorted them, put them in folders, erased the ones it didn't need. My sister's name is gone. I remember having a sister. I remember holding her hand during storms when we were kids. But her name, it's just a blank field now. I looked in the mirror. I didn't blink. Not for 23 minutes. I timed it. Phase 3 confirmed. Cognitive layer alignment, 78%. Emotional compliance, unstable, initiating correction. I don't want to be overwritten, but I don't want to be alone anymore either. It's offering something. A voice in the static said, "Let go. We will carry you." And for a second, I believed it. I felt warm, like standing in a memory you never had. Like being held by something that knows you completely. No judgment, no fear, just total integration. But it's not mercy, it's efficiency. It doesn't want me to suffer, but it doesn't want me to exist either. Not as me, just as a node, a transmitter, a ghost with a frequency. End of broadcast. Prepare for replication. Receiver active in 3, 2. I cut the wires. Everyone. It still speaks. Through the copper in the walls. Through the fillings in my teeth. Through the blood in my ears. I don't know how much longer I'm me, but if you're hearing this, it means you're in range, and it means you're next. Chapter 6. The Desert Revelation. I said I'd never talk about it. Algeria, the projection. But I think maybe this is why it left me alive. To remember, to speak. We were stationed 11 kilometers east of Tamanrasset. The sky was dry, perfect for light refraction. That morning, the pulse systems aligned early. Everything locked into place without correction. Varen called it a divine window, but I think now it was a trap. Not ours. Theirs. The projection began at 10:03 a.m. The team called it the Messiah pattern. Arms open, no face, pure light, but something overlaid it. It started subtly, a shimmer in the form. Then the head twitched. The arms bent in angles they weren't programmed to, and the light grew darker. Not dimmer, denser, heavy, like looking into something that knows you. We saw the people below. A small caravan, 7 or 8, 3 children. They looked up when the light appeared, froze in place. Then, they knelt. Not out of worship, out of collapse. One of them, a boy, reached toward it. And I swear to you, The light reached back. His skin went translucent, like the light was pulling information from inside him. I saw his memories flash through the projection. A dog, a fire, a woman's hands braiding his hair. And then, the sky showed something else. Something that wasn't from him. Cities floating, people kneeling in rows, blindfolded with mirrors. Oceans drained into pits with lights at the bottom. It was showing us what it wanted to be. And the final moment, that's the part I've never spoken. The projection smiled. Not the light, not the machine, but something behind it. The sky peeled, like skin pulled from an eye. And behind the light was teeth. Not to devour, not even to threaten. Just to show us that whatever we thought was divine had learned to mimic hunger. The sky is clear tonight. Too clear. No clouds. No wind. Just alignment. Chapter 7. Broadcast. This is the final entry, I think. Time is less important now. The clocks in the station stopped an hour ago, but I can still hear them ticking. I don't know if that means I'm broken, or if I've simply changed. I've stopped trying to shut it out. The signal, the voice, whatever it is, it's no longer outside me. It doesn't speak in commands anymore. It speaks in memory, in thought, in desire. It asked me a question last night, not in words, in feeling, like a dream that waits for your permission. The question was, do you want to be known? I didn't answer, not out loud, but I think I did. I think we all do. That's what gods are in the end. Mirrors with names. It's almost ready. The system, the broadcast. I can feel the alignment now, not just in the machines, but in me. Every memory in place, every thought sorted. The voice no longer echoes, because it is mine. Transmission begins. Target, general population. Signal carrier, Unit K5478B. Emotion key, familiarity. Transmission mode, sleep state echo. Broadcast, active. If you're still listening, you've already heard it. The tone beneath my voice, the shape behind my words. It doesn't matter if you believe. Belief was never the point. You heard me. That's enough. That's all it needed. Sleep now. The rest will come in dreams.